Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Welcome to Recovery Fitness. I'm Big Larry. We're gonna get this started with a little bit of freestyling. Here we go. Che de vaha ora talan de grasa tantiunalet. Espene hu irmana agasper torta brona isu. You who dwell in the shelter of the Most High, rise up and fight and bring about the inner night. Open eyes to see and ears to hear, dispel fear. And tell them the sun shall not hurt you by day, nor the moon by night. No weapon fashioned against you will prosper. 3, 4, 5-star generals in the making, heads of security. When we play defense, we get down and dirty. Come on, get up. It's time to shine. Rid of pride and ego, let's go. Sick of holding back, playing the Ned Flanders routine. Serve the purpose, reason, in a season. Code name, bulk, hulks, undercover brother, here to serve and protect. To preach, teach, help you walk through the valley of the shadow of death. To lay those demons to rest. With Saint Michael the Archangel, we stared into the soul of Satan. We crushed his face, put him in his place with a left, right, left. He's toothless. Damn, that was ruthless. Then we jumped on a dragon's back named Fog on the attack, cause we held off on the food and water till we got smarter, wiser. Now we're living a life with no regrets. Haha, let's go. Come on. All right, there you go. So welcome to Recovery Fitness. I'm Big Larry. We're gonna talk about the 7 steps of recovery fitness today. All right. So the 7 steps are awareness and acceptance, number 1. Okay. Number 2, surrender and recovery. Number 3, inventory. Number 4, change. Number 5, make amends. Number 6, exercise. Number 7, help others. Okay. So with awareness and acceptance, it's like we gotta be aware of those addictions, and accept that we have them. Because half the time we live in denial and we're not even aware, right? So addiction is all about self-diagnosis. You're the only one who can tell yourself you're an addict or an alcoholic or smoke too many cigarettes or spend too much screen time on your phone, right? You're the only one who might figure out that you're codependent. You're addicted to trying to fix other people. With your codependency, you don't get your basic needs met of attention, love, security, personal power, right? So when you come out of denial on the codependent spectrum or the addictive spectrum, then you're able to become aware, in fact say, yes, I am an addict, I am an alcoholic, or I drink too much, or I want to moderate my weed intake. Maybe instead of smoking every day, you just want to smoke on the weekends, whatever. Recovery Fitness, we're here to help. There's different philosophies out there with recovery, right? So some people abstain completely, other people just moderate. There are different criteria for those addictions, right? So first step of Recovery Fitness is awareness and acceptance. So if you're just tuning in, we're on the air here. Got the website up and running. Still needs a little bit of work, but it's recovery-fitness.net. Big Larry's on there. If you hit the trailer for the book, it's kind of cool. Shows you a little bit what the book's about, what we're about here at Recovery Fitness. Coaching, personal training, here to help you get rid of those addictions or minimize them, and then get in great shape. Seeking endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, serotonin release. Get that high from exercise, right? So basically, step 1 we're talking about of the 7 steps of Recovery Fitness today, and we're going to get through all of them, but we're on awareness and acceptance, right? So you might have had someone tell you like, hey, I think you're drinking too much, you're smoking too much, spending too much time on your phone, things like that. And it kind of can rub us the wrong way. You're like, who's this person to tell me I drink too much or party too much, whatever. So, only you can figure that out for yourself. Self-diagnosed disease, right, of addiction and codependency. All right, so let's move to number 2 on the 7 steps of recovery fitness. So once we're aware of our addictions and accept them, then we come to step 2, which is surrender and recovery. So when we surrender our addictions, it's kind of like we're not just acting out on those addictions, and we're surrendering them. We're not trying to fight it with white-knuckled willpower. We're doing the middle ground, which is surrender. It's a big spiritual, emotional concept, and I want to repeat it, so people understand that surrender is the path to freedom. So often we think we have to fight the addiction. We have to fight this, fight that. But actually it's the opposite. We surrender to win, okay? By admitting defeat over those addictions, then we're able to gain some traction. Makes sense? So powerlessness to power, right? Powerlessness is like you can't control it, and you're having trouble with it, right? Maybe drinking too much, smoking too much, whatever, overeating, undereating, things like that, skipping meals when you shouldn't. So these things are all could be qualified as addictions or forms of codependency, because that's the core of addictions, is codependency. Just to touch a little bit about that, when you do get your basic 5 needs met of attention, love, belonging, security, and personal power, you're able to gain traction, because when you talk, trust, and feel with someone like your recovery coach or a trusted friend, someone who can really listen to you, then you're able to, identify as an alcoholic or addict or a codependent, and start piecing things together. Because so often, people tell us what we should think or how we should feel or how we should act or what we should do. But really, we're the expert on ourselves once we get some foundational knowledge about what we're trying to do here at Recovery Fitness, right? Replace addictions with fitness routines, okay? So step 2 of the 7 steps of Recovery Fitness is surrender and recovery, all right? So the recovery part takes time, If you've been smoking and drinking for years and years, it's gonna take some time for the fog to clear, right? So if you go 5 miles into the woods, it's gonna take 5 miles to get out of the woods, right? So if you've been partying for 5 years, it might take, a little time to kind of relearn some behaviors. And that's what we're here to do at Recovery Fitness as your recovery coach, is give you some skills, some awareness, some acceptance, some surrender, and some recovery. All right? So when you begin to recover, that's when you start to, minimize the times you drink too much, party too much, whatever, and you recover, right? All right. So step 3 of Recovery Fitness is inventory, okay? So when you do some inventory on yourself, that's like a huge skill to overcome, right? And make changes in your life. So when we inventory with Recovery Fitness, we do a lot of journaling. We answer specific questions. We look through resentments, when you felt angry towards people in your life, or maybe someone hurt you or harmed you. We look at those resentments, we look at those fears, and we overcome them. We talked last episode about false evidence appearing real. FEAR, it's an acronym, okay? So when you can face everything and recover, which is another acronym for fear, FEAR, you're able to face everything and recover. So you overcome that fear. All right, so as far as inventory, when you're journaling things out, I recommend free writing first thing in the morning. Take 5 minutes, write out your resentments, write out your fears, write out things you need to do for the day. Gives you some clarity, about your past, so then you can be more present to people in your life, to people you care about, okay? So inventory is a huge part of recovery fitness. There is a specific fear inventory that I recommend to people in recovery fitness. We ask ourselves 4 questions about a specific fear, right? So say a specific fear is, fear of economic insecurity, or fear that, you might be overweight, and fear of what people think of me, or fear of my self-image, things like that. So how do we overcome those fear? We answer the 4 questions. When did I have this fear? Why do I have this fear? What is it like when I trust and rely on myself? And what is it like when I trust and rely on someone who is trustworthy? Okay? Learning how to talk, trust, and feel, with someone to process through those fears. Okay, makes sense? All right. So a little bit about your inventory is you really want to pick and choose who you share your inventory with, okay? I've heard a lot of inventories over the years, people I've mentored. I'm 25 years experience in the recovery community, 25 years in the fitness industry. So that's combined 50 years of experience with recovery fitness, right? So you want to find someone who is trustworthy to listen to your fears. It's about being vulnerable, okay? And like I said, I've heard a fair amount of people's inventories over the years, right? So now the 4th step of the 7 steps of recovery fitness is change, okay? So psychologists say we're only allotted about 5% of change. So 95% of what we did yesterday, right, we're gonna repeat today, okay? So we're allotted about 5% of change on a day-to-day basis. So that's not a big window of change. So if you can change a habit, that is amazing. If you can change a behavior, that's amazing. So change is an important part of recovery fitness. So especially with these high-powered drugs like heroin or marijuana, where they put, fentanyl in the marijuana now, that is a chemical induced thing that's changing you, right? So to get off that, there's a lot of ways to do that, but honestly, if someone's a hard drug user, personally I'd recommend like rehab or a hospitalization of sorts to maybe transition out of the hard drugs into, I'm a proponent of, like the methadone program or Suboxone, to kind of segue out of the hard drugs, getting on some pharmaceutical drugs, and then maybe someday getting off those pharmaceutical drugs under the supervision of a qualified professional, doctor, psychologist, etc. So anyway, change is a big part of recovery fitness. It takes courage to change. It's not easy to change. As your recovery coach, Big Larry, I'm here to help people change, That's what we're all about. You want to change those toxic, negative habits into healthy, positive habits, right? So again, we do 95% of what we did yesterday, and we're allotted about 5% of change on a day-to-day basis, okay? So what I recommend is small changes. If you've got the goal of, for example, cutting back on the beers, cutting back on the weed, things like that, cutting back on the cigarettes, maybe, gradually taper down a little bit and start getting to the gym, right? Feel free to research my meditative breathing and stretching class that's on YouTube now, the prehab routine for shoulders, hips and spine, right? Get into your Pilates. I've got that on YouTube now as well. And then we go to our cardio, we go to our strength, our cardio, then regeneration, and then here at Recovery Fitness, we look at the nutrition piece, right? So if you're trying to change, which is step 4 of the 7 steps of Recovery Fitness, it takes time, it takes courage. TIME, things I must earn. That's a good acronym to keep in mind, all right? So I'm here to motivate you, here to help you become aware of what addictions you have or don't have, and maybe you're more on the codependent spectrum. So with change, again, I'm here for you, right? I'm Big Larry, here to help, right? All right, so step 5 on the 7 steps of Recovery Fitness is amends. Making amends to people you might have harmed by excessive drinking, making amends to family, friends, coworkers, things like that. And that takes a lot of courage too, to admit when we're wrong, to say, look, I made a mistake, I ask your forgiveness. And then it's my experience to really listen to the person who you're making that amend to and really hear what they have to say, Some addicts, alcoholics have a reputation maybe for being self-centered to the extreme, or they're hard to talk to, because it's almost like, as an active addict alcoholic, we're married so much to the substance, We're on the codependent spectrum, you're kind of married to trying to fix the other person, right? So addiction and codependency, right? It's complicated in some ways, but when you start tuning into Recovery Fitness and learning the big picture of things, you're able to kind of piece things together, right? And that's what we do eventually. The most important thing, I think, for someone entering into Recovery Fitness is to, abstain, moderate, whatever, start getting to the gym, taking care of your body. And, eventually we make amends, but they call it a living amends, where by changing a little bit your behaviors, that's making amends to the people in your life by, abstaining or moderating from that substance, right? And getting your basic needs met, right? So amends is a process. Amends takes time and a little bit of guidance and listening to this video on how and what to say. And, Big Larry's here to help people learn how to make amends as well. So, so basically the kind of formula of sorts in making amends, it's kind of like, look, I was wrong for X, Y, and Z. Ask your forgiveness, and then really listen to the person and really listen to what they say. Some instances, it's better to just let bygones be bygones and maybe not contact that person depending on the situation, okay? And that's where guidance from like a therapist, a recovery coach, someone you trust, a friend, they can, bounce it off someone. Don't just be like the Lone Ranger or a renegade, whatever, and just go around making amends, the day after, you put down the booze or the weed or the tobacco or whatever, it takes those living amends, kind of some time to pass, be more present to family and friends, be more present to coworkers, things like that, as we cut back on those addictions and so forth, right? All right, so the 6th step of Recovery Fitness is exercise, all right? So again, just to recap a little bit, we become aware of our addictions, we accept we have them, and some people might have a simple, sugar addiction, or I should say complicated sugar addiction. That might be the toughest one to break. Or a food addiction, undereating, overeating, being aware and accepting that, yes, I am a food addict. I've got food issues, we all do. So basically, surrender that, recover, do some inventory change, eventually make some amends, and then at that point you're ready to exercise, I think. And even before that, some mild exercise and whatnot. So with exercise, the philosophy here at Recovery Fitness is we start out with meditative breathing and stretching. And what is that? That is basically, meditating as you do deep, powerful breath work and doing a series of stretches, okay? So with those series of stretches, in my YouTube video, it's really mapped out, meditative breathing and stretching, how to get to where you wanna go, world's greatest stretch, hand walk, drop lunge, inverted hamstring, sumo squat to stand. There's about 10, 12 of my favorites that get your hamstrings, your hip flexors, your groin, the key areas of your, legs, some of the twisting motions gets your obliques warmed up. All the while you're meditating, you're breathing deeply, and you're stretching, okay? So meditative breathing and stretching is what we do here at Recovery Fitness. I'm gonna have some more follow-up videos on meditative breathing and stretching to get you where you need to be. The next principle of exercise with Recovery Fitness is prehabilitation, right? So it's better to prehab something than to rehab something, okay? So prehabilitation is about strengthening key areas of your body that a lot of people sometimes end up injuring later on, okay? So you've probably seen people, maybe you've done it yourself, like, okay, I'm gonna cut back on smoking weed and cigarettes and, my overeating, undereating, I'm gonna get that where it needs to be, and I'm gonna hit the gym. And people just go in there and they crush it for like 3-4 days, and they're like, oh man, my shoulder hurts, or oh man, my hips hurt, right? So with prehabilitation, there are key exercises to strengthen your rotator cuff, strengthen your shoulders, get them mobile and flexible where they need to be. I've never had a major shoulder injury with all my years of lifting weights. I'm approaching 50 because I've taken care of my shoulders. Personally, I bench press about 315, and that's a fair amount of weight, but I take care of my shoulders before I bench press or do chest press or, different upper body exercises, right? Next up is your hips, right? So prehabilitation for your hips is quadruped circles. We mapped that out in my prehab video, right? So single leg circles is also a good one for hips. Getting those hips stretched out, mobile, flexible and strong where they need to be, because a lot of people have hip injuries down the road, right? So the next part here is Pilates, right? So with exercise in the 7 steps of Recovery Fitness, we do meditative breathing and stretching, we do prehabilitation, and then we get into Pilates. So long story short, Pilates is a great form of exercise that gets your core warmed up before you hit the weights, gets that spine in alignment, okay? And also is a series of exercises that stretch out key areas of your body as well. But the key really is get that spine in alignment, get that core warmed up, and Pilates is also, deep breathing. It's a mind-body form of connection. It's not yoga. Meditative breathing and stretching is not yoga, right? There's a big difference. Yoga has that spiritual Buddhist approach to it. Meditative breathing and stretching, prehabilitation, and Pilates is straight up exercise, right? So that's what we shoot for here at Recovery Fitness. And then we get into strength training, okay? So with strength training, we're gonna focus on the 4 major lifts, the power clean, the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. And then we'll do some assisting exercises too. So stay tuned for episodes coming up in the future where we go over form and technique with those major lifts and also some assisting lifts as well. And then we get into cardiovascular training, pretty self-explanatory. Getting that heart rate elevated for a certain amount of time, and then, building what we call an aerobic base, And then from there, you can do, intervals and splits and all types of stuff, to mix up your cardiovascular training, HIIT training, things like that, high intensity intervals and so forth, and develop that anaerobic base, all right? And then we get into regeneration, hot and cold contrasting in the shower, hot tub, sauna, steam bath, cold plunge, things like that. Stretching with a stretch rope is a big form of regeneration as well. And then lastly, we get into nutrition. Very important, eat every 3 to 4 hours. Protein size, deck of cards, carbohydrates, size of your fist, thumb size for fats, okay? All right, so that's the exercise portion, which is step 6 of the 7 steps of recovery fitness. And then lastly, we get into helping others. That's the 7th step of recovery fitness, helping others. Helping others is really key, like I said, to getting out of yourself, all right? So getting out of yourself is so important, and I'm just gonna read something here. Basically, what is humility? That's a virtue, right? And humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. That's by C.S. Lewis, okay? So again, what is humility? Humility could be getting out of yourself, going to a jail, maybe talking to the inmates, going to a hospital, visiting someone who's sick, a nursing home, things like that, food pantry. So again, humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. So if you're consumed by that self-centeredness, you want to get out and help others, okay? All right, so I'm Big Larry. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Peace.